No. The deck was so fun.
How hard did
God damn it.
Croxo and Gruneros get hit?
I don't know. Haven't had the deck put together for a little while. I replaced it
that's
with
fair.
Slowgurk, and the best engine in that deck was Nadu.
Oh,
Yeah, it's interesting. Anyway, welcome back to the podcast. This is a
fuck.
podcast about CEDH. It's called CEDH The Lost, based off of Fooblefip The Lost, who didn't get hit today, so we're
Let's
chilling.
go.
We are so
Um,
back, chat. Y'all thought we were dead? You thought wrong.
We have 4 human beings with us today. Myself, Bailey Rotten. We have Delantro Lime. Say hi, Dylan.
Hello. Been
we
a minute.
We have the Nick. Say hi, Nick.
Hello, gang.
And then we have Peter Parker. Hi, Parker.
Hello.
Yeah, so today, I guess in 16 minutes it'll be yesterday. But we got a ban announcement from the RC committee, and it's pretty cool. We have Dockside Extortionist, Jeweled Lotus, Mana Crypt, and Nadu. Let's just pretend Nadu's not here, because that was irrelevant.
Yeah.
If we're being real with everyone. Yeah. They banned those. We have some reasonings. Coming down for no mana on turn 1, it's quite possible to have the explosive start of Mana Crypt into Signet, or Talisman, land, and another Signet, leaving that player untapping 5 mana on turn 2, and game's going over 12 turns. That's the main part that they talk about for both things, for Jeweled Lotus and Mana Crypt, is that on turn 2, with both of them, it's very easy to have 5 mana, which is what they're trying to avoid, the snowballing effect from turn 1, 2 to 3, where you have 5, 6 to 7 mana. So that's why the Mana Crypt and the Jeweled Lotus bans got hit. And then Dockside Extortionist, they liked the idea of it being power crept with how high your game goes in power level. Like, it gets better the higher level you are. But there was problems in casual. It can still go mana positive on turn 2 and start generating substantial treasures after that. Yeah. And then they go into talking about banning Soul Ring, but it's too iconic is what they say. And then Nadu, they go into it and they said that it was banned in other formats and it leads to unfun play patterns, which is like the same reason Paradox Engine got banned, so I guess that reasoning is sound. Anyway, we're gonna attempt to have a civil conversation about it and discuss it. I have the 4 decks that all of us play the most, or that we're like known for, and we're gonna discuss what changes with the deck and how we go from living our lives. Any of you have any precursor comments on the bans?
I mean, I think, just to preface this, my core issues with the ban does not stem from, like, the actual ban. I think I'll move on with it. Deck building will change, format will change. Format will be fine. I'm more confused about the justifications not quite adding up in my mind of, like, we're banning fast mana to eliminate some of the fast starts of the game, but we're not banning all of it. We're going to ban 2 pieces, and not even the most egregious offenders, in my opinion.
What's a more egregious offender?
Well, Soul Ring, they talk about why they don't want to ban that. I just don't think that makes any sense to me.
That's
I agree with the Soul Ring thing, because it's like it's either on top with 4 mana or on top of 5 mana.
Yeah,
and 1 mana can matter, but that
I'm gonna
doesn't
give
make
them
sense.
a slide on the Soul Ring, just because it's been in every precon ever made.
Yeah, that was my
like
only argument against it.
Yeah,
only
that's
redeeming quality.
My only thing, but Soul Ring and Mana Crypt are essentially the same card.
Yeah.
I think Mox Diamond is also egregious.
Yeah.
True.
You only say that because you play Oof.
I'm
No,
been
he
playing
loves
Mox
people
Diamond
playing
lately,
effects.
and it feels phenomenal.
No,
Yeah, it is phenomenal.
I also think that with the way that they were going about it is interesting. I made an argument in a different discussion that should we be watching out for them to stop reprinting Soul Ring in any precon, because they're just gonna ban it. Like it's just weird.
Yeah,
Their reasoning.
I don't think you have to worry about it getting not
Yeah.
reprinted in new formats because it's the rules committee works with Wizards in a way, but they're not controlled by Wizards.
Yeah.
So like they probably came to Wizards with being like, hey, we're gonna ban Dockside, Jeweled Lotus, Mana Crypt, Nadu. Is there anything that you are opposed of? And like say Sol Ring was on there, but they were like, you can't ban Sol Ring.
Yeah.
The rules committee isn't gonna step on Wizards' toes and ban Sol Ring, which is probably honestly why there was such a big talk about Sol Ring. There's an entire paragraph talking about Sol Ring where they said, yes, it should be banned. It would be banned based off of the criteria, which probably means they did ask Wizards if it was okay, and they ultimately got the no. Because as much as they say we're not controlled by Wizards,
They have
they're
heavy ties to
essentially
Wizard.
Yeah.
They're allowed
essentially
to do their
controlled by
thing because
Wizards.
Wizards lets them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if Big Daddy says don't do that, you don't do that.
From a different standpoint there, I'm kind of surprised that Wizards was chill with the banning of Mana Crypt and Jeweled Lotus,
Yeah.
because those are kind of two of their flagship, like, we put these in a set to sell the set.
Yeah.
It's definitely an interesting concept.
Yeah, I think there's most likely some give and take. But of course, there's gonna always be more cards that Wizards can put in to sell packs. Like, there's
You guys
never.
ready for the new Mana Crypt to come out?
You
in
mean
2
Mana
years?
Tomb?
You mean Mana Tomb 1 mana taps for 2 mana on
And
people flipping
Dockside
board.
Extorter?
Or Dockside Extortion is 2, where you get double the amount of treasures, but it's a 4-drop.
I did see that card.
Oh my god.
I love the internet sometimes.
I do too.
Oh, the internet is great. Did you see the Mana Crypt that was just cut down to cry?
Yes.
Maybe I'll keep crying.
Yeah. So let's
Great.
get to deck lists. We can start with mine because I'm the least concerned about everything in life.
So nonchalant.
This is Fibblefib. We play Crypt and Jeweled Lotus. Maybe not even Jeweled Lotus in this version. Nope, it's right here. That's what gets hit. I was talking to the Fibblefib Discord. Yes, there is one. Please join. It's so dead.
Yeah, you were talking to people in it daily.
Yeah, there was
So
like 4
yourself?
people.
Okay.
Well, okay.
Bailey and his alt account, and his other alt account, and then the one other Fibblefit player.
We were talking about the
Oh.
piles, and they're like, the piles are so bad now. And I'm like, guys,
Get over it.
I've literally discovered the Mystic Forge Helm of Awakening pile, and it's been playable for 4 years. We're fine. And they were like, what pile? You've never shared your deck. And I was like, it's literally in my primer. So the Fibblefit players are just gonna learn to adjust. The 3 of us that are in the world.
Hey, you never know. I could pick up Fibblefib now. You never
Please
know.
don't.
You can
Please
play
don't.
Trinisphere and Portcullis.
I
Oh my
love
God.
Portcullis,
I don't know
dude.
about that one.
Is Portcullis gonna be coming out now that Dockside is banned?
No, Portcullis is
Oh,
probably
God.
better with Dockside out of the format because now people are gonna play more dorks.
That's fair.
What are they gonna play? Okay. Conversations for later when we talk about.
No, we can talk about it now. This video
No,
doesn't need to be
it's-
in order.
It's
Yeah, we're
very
already
important
chaos.
to my
Okay.
deck list.
Okay, we'll talk about the other thing. So with the banning of Nadu, which doesn't really matter, but mainly Dockside, my entire counterspell package was predeceted on those cards and stopping those cards. This list that is currently presented is on 3 stifles to stop Dockside. And then
Please cut them.
if you look at the counter spells or more interaction, we have March's Swirling Mist, Into the Flood Maw, Spell Snare, Stern Scolding, Strict Serenade. These are all cards that I decided were good enough to stop Nadu and Dockside specifically, that honestly I don't need to play anymore.
Yeah.
Because Into the Flood Maw and March were my ways to deal with Nadu if I don't have a better answer for it. So if we're and like Amphibian Downpour even was a really good answer to Nadu. That was
Yes, cut the
like my
creature
best
answers,
thoughts. Obviously they're not all gonna go, but I don't think I need to be on 3 Stifles, Spell Snare, Stern Scolding, Strict Serenade now when the number 1 problems for my decks were Dockside.
Yeah, you can
Um,
probably pivot away from a couple of those
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
safely.
Not gonna lie, I think with the release of Nadu, I saw more hate towards Sisei because people were slotting in hate for Nadu and they realized it also worked on Sisei.
Yeah, like I didn't fear Sisei when I play Fibblefit with the current like package currently. Which is the same package I currently have for the most part in Teferi, which I think I'm playing this weekend.
Let's go.
Minus a few cards, obviously.
just a couple.
But I think it's interesting that with the bannings, the control decks get to explore a new avenue for counter spells and ways to interact with the table.
But I mean, that's how control decks kind of function, right? You just
Yeah.
mold to whatever the format is.
Yeah, but this has been like the way the control decks have been going for like the last 5 years. Like they've been slowly homogenizing, and then with Nadu coming out, they were like, okay, this is what we need to be on if we want to stay alive in the format.
Yeah, because the rules committee doesn't do anything for a year and a half at a time.
Yes. Shout out Eagle Vision. I love this deck. Anyway,
always let Pit every time.
Bibna Brassios.
No, we block that.
Bibna Brassios time. Nick, what cards? Oh, there's a Mana Crypt.
Yeah, so oh, they already marked it. I'm not legal. Interesting.
Not on
Yeah,
mine, though.
so the only card I'm losing out of here is Crypt. So I'm like entirely unconcerned by the ban because A, everyone loses it. B, Dockside is gone. That card was the main reason I would lose games. Someone would play a Dockside, they'd get such an influx of treasures, they just win the game on the spot.
No.
I didn't have access to that in this deck. Turns out, not in red. Now I don't care. Won't care. I don't think I'm gonna make a single change to this list, except possibly cutting one clone. Besides, obviously, Crypt.
Yeah.
Because I don't. One of the biggest reasons for clone in here was for Dockside, and I was specifically running. Which clone am I on?
Mockingbird?
Yeah, Mockingbird.
Yeah, I think I changed it already, but originally I was on Flesh Duplicate instead of Fimage, just so I could flicker it to cop with Emil as a Dockside.
No, that's fair.
But now I don't feel the need to even slot that in, so I'm back to Fimage to reduce my blue pips.
Yeah.
Was that an ecological appreciation?
Yeah, the cards
Yes.
been gas for him.
Dude, I've never had that card whiff.
This card's been really insane with Ranger Captain, Cutzel, Grand Abolisher.
Yeah.
Because then they have to guarantee give you a silenced turn. It's been very awesome to watch and very scary.
Yeah. Or I'll just huck it for 3 and slap Faber, a Bloom Tender, Kinnan, Spellseeker, and people crap their pants. It's amazing.
Yeah, like now with the Cutzel, so you're able to run the 3 Grand Abolisher effects that are all 3 drops or less. It got a lot better. So I think it's like actually playable, and a shout out to Nick for testing it out and putting work in with it.
Isn't the correct spell to give you Ranger Captain?
Yes.
It's either Ranger Captain or Cutzel, depending on what the table's holding.
That's fair.
Probably Ranger Captain.
Yeah, unless you have like a touch or a Otawara in hand already, it's Ranger Captain.
You'll hear me out, Nick. Go down Mana Crypt, up copy enchantment. Where the copy enchantment, that's or copy artifact.
I am considering Steel Enchantment for that slot.
Oh my goodness.
You're not on Nadu. A lot of the Timnathras.
Yeah, that is a big distinction. I wasn't a believer in Nadu in the 99 because my thought process with it followed something like this. I want to set up with Nadu, Nomads, and Nadu, right?
Yeah.
That's 5 CMC of creatures spread across 2 creatures. In every case, I would rather find and set up Seedborn. Every time.
Yeah.
it just fits my game plan better, lets me interact better. I don't know, and it just doesn't ever feel like I'm sitting on just Nadu doing nothing, or just Nomads doing nothing, and it
Yeah.
only requires one tutor to get a creature out instead of two.
Yeah, so like your deck's just unaffected by the ban list. It just brings all the other decks down, which brings your deck technically up.
Yeah,
Which
I
I
think
is fascinating.
Timnathras is going to be sitting in absolutely in a top 5 position of meta decks, which is
Yeah.
interesting because I considered it to be off meta prior to this ban list.
Yeah, it
Yeah, I
definitely
wonder-
got some legs.
I wonder if we'll kind of shift back to the meta we saw when me and you went to Oktoberfest, Bailey,
Yeah, I
where
think
it was
probably.
very like Thrasios heavy.
Yeah.
And just like I feel like cheap commanders are going to be so much
I
better
guess this
now.
is actually a great time to talk about one of the things I thought about. So I woke up at like 3:30 in the morning this morning, and then this came out at like 7 in the morning, and so it's been on my mind the entire day. My head started to hurt at work because I kept on thinking about it. But it's mainly about the Jeweled Lotus hit. There was like, or I guess even the Mana Crypt hit on people being like, the good decks get hit, but so do the bad decks. But I think realistically, the good decks get hit more, because with your Timnas and a Jeweled Lotus, you have a turn 1 Timna, which is a turn 1 card advantage engine. With the off-meta decks, you might have a turn 1 commander, but your commander typically isn't a card advantage engine. It's part of like a combo piece or something else like that when it's not one of those mainstay commanders and it's an off-meta card. So removing the turn 1 draw advantage from those good decks actually helps the bad decks in the long run, because yes, they won't be able to get their commander or their combo piece out early, but they'll be able to set up their board without having to be like, oh, the Timna player is drawing 3 cards a turn since turn 2. So I think it's a huge bump to add the bad decks realistically, where for like the Jeweled Lotus and the Mana Crypt hit. The Dockside one hurts the bad decks obviously, because that card's
Yeah.
just insane. But I think the
Dockside
Mana
might be
Crypt
there.
and the Jeweled Lotus is better for the bad decks in the long run, because those good decks don't have access to them, which means their openings are a lot less consistent, and your openings were already less consistent, and losing a little bit of consistency doesn't affect you because you've already had to deal with it.
Yeah.
Is like my philosophy, which I've seen a lot of people disagree with, which I could be totally wrong, but
Yeah,
typically I think I'm correct on that point.
I think there is another aspect there of like deck dependent. This is gonna kick you in the nuts really hard, or you'll not
Yeah.
care.
Yeah.
Like my Timnathras, I could care less. But one of my other decks in rotation was Corvold. Yeah, that deck is cooked. I don't
Yeah,
think
but
there's
I
any
don't
way
think
around it.
I don't think it was Crypt and Jeweled Lotus. That's
It's-
cooked because of
yeah.
Dockside.
Yeah, no,
Like
it is.
I can
think,
so
like-
live with the Jeweled Lotus and Mana Crypt ban. Dockside hurts so bad.
I
Yeah,
think
like that. It
decks
was
like
Dockside deck.
yeah, I think decks
Yeah.
like Tasica and stuff are definitely affected by the Mana Crypt and Jeweled Lotus, because it's
I
like
think
Well, I don't think
Hmm.
so, because sure, you have a turn 1 Tasigur, but that doesn't progress your game plan unless you're exactly the Neoform Evolution Tasigur. But
I
a
guess
lot
Which
of the
I do
Tasigur
think
decks
that's the
aren't
only
that.
reason to play Tasigur, to be honest.
yeah.
Well, a lot of the decks right now aren't that. It's a mid-range Tasigur that doesn't.
Also, who's talking about Tasker? Like,
I don't know, it was just on my mind because played it not recently, but back, and so
Yeah,
There
but
was
I think
interesting-
that deck even gets helped by not
Dockside
having
ban.
to. Well,
Yeah.
that and not having to worry about your Timnas and Chroms coming out on turn 1
yeah.
or 2.
I think decks with 3 mana commanders just got shot really hard. 3 and 4 mana commanders. 5
Rip.
CMC can be pretty easily cast with like a mana vault and stuff still. Like,
Yeah.
that's not the biggest deal, but like all those, except for like Timna Malcolm. I think Timna Malcolm's in an amazing spot post bans.
Yeah, it doesn't feed Docksides. I was thinking
Yeah.
about it honestly. Yeah,
I
but
mean, it was already like such a
it was a good deck,
suspiciously underplayed good deck.
but I think it really gets hurt by the Jewel Lotus and Mana Crypt
Yeah,
just because of your good commanders can't be cast early on, which is the entire point of the deck. Like if you have
True.
to wait until turn 3 to play your Malcolm, you're probably losing that game. Or turn 3 to play your Tymna, you're probably losing that game.
Yeah, because isn't the philosophy of like almost every Malcolm deck under the sun a turn 2 Malcolm?
It at worst
Yeah.
it's
worst.
a turn 2.
And so losing Jewel Lotus, which is just an automatic turn 1, and Mana Crypt, which is almost always an automatic turn 1.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, it hurts. But I think very specifically Tim to Malcolm's slow enough that I don't think it really cares, right? Like
I don't know. Malcolm seems bad if it's a turn 3 play.
I mean, even if you just go like Ancient Tomb Land Malcolm, that's still just good.
Yeah,
Right.
I think it's just the density of options of you getting your turn 2 Malcolm. Which I guess this only hits the turn 1 Malcolm, so it lowers
Yeah.
the consistency, so I don't know how bad of a hit it actually is to the deck. I don't know. I'm not an expert
I'm
on
sure
the
we'll
deck.
see.
I play mono blue.
Yeah.
Do you guys think Malcolm Vile got hit bad because of Dockside and the 3?
Yeah. I'd say most
I think
Grixis decks
Adnaz-
are in shambles.
Adnaz and Necro decks are crying.
I think Necro less so, because Necro can be is a less all-in strategy.
Yeah, I
Right.
agree that Necro is more okay with it, but I think losing Crypt and Dockside as ways to filter your red mana, because red is typically the easiest one to ritual into, and losing one of your free mana sources is a huge loss.
Yeah.
And then with the Jewel Lotus and Crypt hit, it makes your Moxopals worse. So sometimes if you add Nas, you might not even find enough free rocks or cheap enough rocks to turn on your Opal. It just makes it so you have to be more strategic, which I think is good overall.
Yeah,
I
that
wasn't
was
playing Adnaz anyways. Fuck that card.
my argument for Rogsai was you're going to see less main phase Adnazes and more end step Adnazes from Rogsai's.
Which I think
Yeah.
is fine. It should have already been that way if we're being realistic.
Yeah.
I did see some people arguing that Rogsai and Blue Farm both got stronger as a result of this, and I didn't look far enough into it to see what the argument was.
I think
Yeah, I don't-
Crom might
There
have
was-
gotten quite a bit better.
I think-
Specifically.
Why do you think Crom got better?
I think Crom got significantly worse.
It's just a 5-mana commander that can be turboed out with
Like
the
Evolve.
rocks that are still in the format, right? Like, there's not a lot of commanders that can just be turboed out turn 1 or 2 right now in the format, especially the high mana value.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Commanders.
Crom still got harder to turbo out. So I think
Ish.
Yeah, it got less consistent to turbo out.
I think Blue Farm might have gotten stronger because they only really are affected by the Dockside hit.
And Mana Crypt.
Yeah, Mana
I
Crypt's
think
nice, but it's not.
realistically, the Mana Crypt hit almost neuters Adnaz to the effect of like main phase as Adnaz. I think Adnaz just took a massive hit from it. Because it's an entire free mana rock, and the Jewel Lotus hit also limits the amount of artifacts you play for your Opal. Typically, a Blue Farm deck plays 13 artifacts for the Opal, including the Esper Sentinel, and then if you cut 2 of those, you're down to 11. That means you have to see 30 cards in order to turn on your Opal. And it has to be a perfect ratio, which it won't be a perfect ratio every time.
yeah.
So I
And
think
then
it is
Dockside's
just
one of the best ways to smooth out post Nas your mana production.
Yeah, so I think the Nas plan gets hurt a lot.
No, and that's fair. I also see Blue Farm still being viable very much, and
it's still going to be a top deck.
yeah,
Yeah.
I still think it's going to be top deck, but also because it can pivot to mid range really easily, and it can go like the heavy enchantment where it's just holding up value and grinding value with Tim the Crom and just playing for the late game. I think that's where Tim the Crom is just going to go now without Adnaz and without Dockside.
Yeah, I think they cut Nas from the list. I don't think they need to be running it because the explosiveness of the majority of lists across the board is going to be neutered with Dockside gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think Blue Farm can settle into that control strategy a lot better because they
Yeah.
have still in the command zone 2 very consistent draw engines.
Yep.
Still have
Yeah.
all the colors for all the other good draw engines. You just do the same longer game plan that you pivot to, but it's your
Yeah.
main plan now.
Yeah.
That was what Blue Farm was before it became this ad show. It was like just a control deck.
And
Yeah.
to be fair, they didn't lose Thoracle, Tainted Pact, and Breach. Like, they still have their win cons.
Yeah.
And they weren't
Just-
using Dockside as a combo piece, just a ritual.
Yeah.
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 That
I
is
don't know.
another one to look at, the amount of combos that just got taken out of the
I
format.
know.
Yeah.
Because
Well, let's get into
Oh yeah. We'll just.
Dill.
Okay. Yeah. We can just hop straight into it. Oh my god.
oh yes, here we
I
are.
fucking hate the rules committee.
Goodbye.
Let's just put that out there. This
Bye-bye,
is.
friends.
Oh. Okay. Back to your statement earlier about the increase in dorks. I don't think I can add dorks to my deck. Like, they actively banned Dockside, which is something that allowed me to recover from the removal of my dorks, but didn't ban Bowmasters, which is the easiest way for my dorks to get removed. When I don't do anything to cause them to happen, I can't. And then on top of that, a lot of the like kill power of the deck is just gone. Like, I can no longer punish my opponents for playing the game greedily. Like, I don't know, there's so many slots in this deck that are just gone now.
Oh,
Like,
but you
I'm
can, my
considering-
sweet summer child. The oof calls your
Oh.
name.
I can run Oof now. I don't think I will run Oof.
Yeah.
could,
If we
in
look
theory.
at it, like Emil gets cut, Dockside gets cut.
No, I don't think I can cut Emil. Emil has combos outside of Dockside. But the other one, Tamir Sabertooth, which I haven't cast in like my last 50 games on this
Yeah.
deck, gets cut from the deck. And like Dockside, the Mana Crypt, Jewel Lotus, obviously. Like, I don't know. It's just such a
Jewel Lotus hurts a lot.
yeah. This deck just got shot.
Hey, you still have Annie joins up.
You still
The
got
card's
Fuchin.
gas.
Have you got to resolve it yet?
Oh yeah, it's won
Okay.
me several games. It
Didn't
comes
you
down,
commandeer
kills an
it?
opposition agent, and then wins me the game. It's great.
That is awesome, actually.
Bailey, haven't you
Uh,
commandeered that card before?
Twice.
Yes, that has happened. We don't talk about that. It makes me sad.
Most, to be fair,
But
most
I-
people aren't running that commandeer.
No, it's true. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this deck right now. Like, granted, a lot of the games I was playing, people just were respecting Dockside, and I didn't get to go for Dockside lines. But at the same time, like, if my opponents are respecting Dockside, it gives me additional time to get to these other combos. My opponents no longer have to respect Dockside. Like,
Yeah, I think you probably have to put in oof effects, and
It's-
then
it's
I think
possible
you
I
have
do.
to slant into the Gandalf, like the flash effects, which you
I
already
mean, I've
are.
already really heavily slanted in flashbacks.
Yeah,
I think what's
but, like,
happening is I'm
even
putting
more.
in Minx and Boo. I'm putting in Trouble and Pairs. I think Esau's back in the list.
Yeah.
And then I have one more slot, and I don't know what to fill it with. It could be another Dork, but once again, with Bowmasters still just plaguing the format, green decks are in such a spot right now.
I don't know. I'm
Ugh.
loving playing green. I'm having a great time.
Green with blue is fine. Green without blue is in maybe the worst spot I've ever seen it. Especially like any Gruul based deck is just shot right now. I can't. It's so bad. Oh. And like I was just about to put Atla back together, and now I'm like, I don't
You just gotta
know what I'm
question
supposed
your
to do with that
decisions.
deck. Like, I don't know.
Not play
I don't know if
blocks
Naya's
like
even
this.
viable right now at all.
I think it definitely is. It just needs a really good deck builder to innovate the space, right? Because
Yeah.
Naya has been known as the Dockside color.
Yeah,
its
I think
entire existence
what
since Dockside. came out.
happens to Naya is I think Rocco's now the only viable Naya commander. I think every other Naya commander is just out of contention. Like,
That new
Balin
one.
was a super cool deck.
Yeah.
Well,
Um,
Balin doesn't have
but
to
a lot
feed
of the
Dockside anymore.
correct, but a lot of the
True.
explosiveness of Balin was
because
that
of
it would
Dockside.
feed Dockside and then cast a Dockside. Because it doesn't matter. You don't need. You can play through your own oof effects. Like the whole upside to the deck was dockside through oof.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now you just have to B stacks, make tokens, and pray, which isn't a very
Which
good
isn't-
strategy.
Which isn't good enough right now. I
Indeed.
don't know.
Maybe this opens
Oh.
up. Like, do you think Minsk and Boo, the Naiad version, gets better because of the dockside hit?
It's possible. Hulk is. I still don't think in a good spot. Like,
No, I don't think Hulk is in a good spot at all. But I think it's
and
interesting
Minx
that
is just a Hulk deck.
yeah,
right?
but I think it opens up Naya to be more than just a dockside color, where
Which-
someone has to innovate something else. I don't know if
And-
it's going to be good or not.
Yeah. In all honesty, I'm probably in like a day or two going to be fine with the bans. Like, my deck is already like rather slanted away from dockside.
Yeah.
It's already well designed to play without dockside because it had to be. People were very respectful of the card. I've
Also,
been
Rip
considering cutting
Clouds.
Tamir anyways. But
I mean,
no,
Naya
it's gonna
still
be-
has they're fringe, but they're there. You've got Jetmir and Shalai and Halar.
They're
You can
just
do some
not.
silly things in the Naya
like-
space.
I don't know. I just don't understand why you would play any deck in Naya other than Rocco right now. Right? Like, why not just
played
run?
Jetmir
every
for a
cre-
little bit.
Yeah. Why not play just the best creature in your deck in your command zone at any given time?
I have a question. Do you guys think
What's up?
now that Dockside's banned, Cloudstone Curio is going to see no play?
Correct.
Oh, right. There's a Cloudstone in this deck. Oh my god.
It's not
no,
worth
I think in Tamir Thrasios, so like Thrasios Rog, Thrasios Dargo, it'll still see play because you're on Cloud of Fairies, and
Yeah.
Rograk and Cloud of Fairies is infinite mana with Gaia's Cradle and a blue source.
Or
I think that deck is
Rograk
still
and
gonna play.
Sticker Goblin.
Yes, so
There's
I think
plenty of ways to abuse
maybe
it
I
in there
play
Cloudstone
still.
is still
Goblin,
gonna
yeah.
be playing it. It's
Okay.
gonna not be as prolific because Dockside is the best outlet for it, but
Yeah.
you'll still see play.
Maybe that's what I put in the deck. Maybe I put Sticker Goblin in the deck.
For Infinite Red.
You make Infinite Red, but that doesn't help you recast Rocco.
Well, no, I would just be cutting the Cloudstone. It's not for the combos. I just need.
Oh. Yeah, no.
Like the deck. The
He's a
deck
good
just
ritual.
lost. The deck just lost 5 mana on turn 1. Like,
God.
oh.
All right, Parker. The deck that's now dead.
It's very much not dead, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's to say.
I think,
Dockside and Crypt are your hits.
yeah, I don't think Crypt really mattered for this list. Like, yeah, it's nice to go cast Siste, but I've been able to get consistent turn 2 Sistes by just going turn 1 Dork, turn 2 Siste. That's not what I'm worried about. Crypt, yeah, Agatha's was nice. Dockside is the biggest hit, but even then, I've already thought of ways to work around it. It's not necessary to the point of my deck absolutely dies. Yeah, 2 mana, and then what? 5 mana activate and try to win is sick. But I've won more times without Dockside than I have with Dockside, and so I think it will be little bit more pushing towards Zavala than anything.
Yeah.
And I might go back on Planeswalker, but I don't think I will. I think I'm going to go on Kitten instead.
That's fair. Yeah, because Parker cut the Planeswalker line.
Completely.
Oh, did you? Interesting.
Yeah. Like, they're still on Amanatu and Dahada, but those are ways
Turns
to
out just good.
Yeah.
flicker things. Dahada makes mana. I don't know if you stay on Amanatu
I don't
without
think so.
Dockside.
The only reason to stay on Amanatu is go Tyvar, Savala, untap, grab Amanatu, more colors, more pips.
Yeah.
Flicker Tyvar, untap Savala, or flicker Savala, untap. Like, I think there's reasons to keep it. Maybe not Dahada, but
Yeah.
I think there's reasons to keep Amanatu.
Yeah.
It's just more of a dead card in the list.
Yeah, so like I was listening to other Sisse players talk, and they also think the deck's not dead. They just have to adjust the deck slightly. Yeah, like Ruby
Yeah.
is a fine option. People are still playing that. You can play Sanctum Weaver if you want.
I think I'm gonna be going on more enchantments. I'm gonna be going off necromancy now, considering the fact that my main target for it was the dockside.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna go on steel enchantment and then go on Sanctum Weaver because I'm gonna be hoping for those enchantments at this point. I was thinking about going on Kitten and then Ewit for those lines.
Yeah.
To make infinite mana. I think Luris is for sure coming out
That makes
because
sense.
Luris, Fimage, Emil used to make infinite mana with opponents' docksides. It doesn't anymore. I think I am putting in the card that Dylan was talking about. Either Annie's joins up or Long Goodbyes will probably go in.
Yes. Let's get Annie joins up, stocks up.
I
sick.
like Annie joins up because it just kills things.
Yeah.
The only thing is like the triggered abilities are interesting. Like Derevi will trigger.
Multiple times.
Ragavan will trigger. Lotho will trigger. Talion will trigger. So there's the Hero Evoker Adept would trigger. There's a couple of things.
Is it legendary?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so there's also
gosh.
these couple of
You could
interesting
have
things. that
actual
will trigger.
interaction in your
Shut
Sisei
the
deck?
fuck up.
He has more interaction than Atlas's.
I know.
And
I'm fully aware, Bailey.
And I
Atlas always has it though, I swear.
I think ultimately the deck will just get better with Nadu being gone. Like, yes, people are still going to be on those pieces of interaction, but it's going to be less because they're going to be less scared of docksides and Nadus.
Yeah, I agree.
But I think my main op is Opposition Agent at this point in time.
Yeah, opposition's a problem.
Yeah, I don't know
Guys,
if
I'm trying to
the
convince him, but
standard player base is going to recognize Sisei as less of a threat, to be honest. I think you're still going to get just as much
Yeah.
hate
I
for
think you're
being on
gonna
Sisei.
still get cooked.
Yeah,
Oh,
I heard
probably.
people discussing the
think-
fact that the deck was dead, and I was like, that doesn't seem right at all.
I don't think the deck is dead. Maybe I go on less creature tutors. Like maybe I go off of Invasion.
Yeah.
Because like the amount of creature tutors I'm on was to either 2-out or dockside if I'm really bad on mana or color fixations or just something. But I think ultimately maybe even Neoform comes out of the list because Neoforming a 1-drop into dockside is nice. I don't know. I think
Does
the list
Polywog Prodigy have a place in this list? Do you play it?
maybe. I think with how I'm building the list currently, probably. I even mentioned to Bailey yesterday. No, Saturday. That I was like, I might put Chthonian Nightmares in the list.
How
Yeah, that
quickly is
card's
this
dead.
Just like,
Yeah, no.
how
Shout out
quickly
to
is this
Tony.
just like pivoting to Clown?
Not necessarily. I think I'm just trying to see how the list plays out now.
Clam chowder or Sisei stocks have gone up though.
I think
Yeah.
so too. No other decks, I think, has gone way up in stocks. I think Tayam just got so much better.
I agree.
Yeah,
I kind of hate it. I don't know
Yeah,
how
like
to feel
the
about
only realistic kind of hit is Jeweled Lotus and Crypt, but half the decks aren't even on either of those right now.
No,
Oof, daddy.
Yeah.
I think most of them are dominant.
Yeah, the biggest winner, I think, One Piece TCG, if we're being frank.
Yeah, get out of CD. That's
uh,
the biggest takeaway.
Dog,
I don't know. I think the format's perfectly fine and alive.
I got my Crypt, Dockside, Chthonian, and Jeweled Lotus sitting on my desk staring at me right now.
Yeah.
Because immediately prior to this ban, I bought cards for and put together Ob Nixilis.
Yeah.
ooh.
I think Ob is fine.
No, the deck is fine, and that's my opinion. I was talking about that before you got here, actually, before we started the episode.
Sure.
I've been playtesting this. Feels great still. I do not care.
Yeah.
I think this deck is just fine.
I think it's
Yeah.
gonna be seen as less of a threat because people are gonna be like, "Oh, you don't have Dockside, you don't have infinite mana, like you don't have infinite artifact loops with Dockside," and it's just like you're sure gonna get a 21/21 beater at you though.
Yeah, or
I
I'll
think,
just
like,
Cauldron and Ballista and move
Yeah,
on.
I think the Jude Lotus and Mana Crypt bans hurt that deck more than the Dockside does.
Yeah.
Like,
They do, but there's still enough density of mana and rituals and Rakdos that you're
yeah,
fine. And you just play your engine first. You're looking for like turn 3 Ob, turn 2 engine. By engine, I mean a pinger.
yeah. Do I go back to Tevcrom?
I think so.
no,
I think it's time for the big boy discussions.
Oh no.
oh no, it's already
Where we at?
12:30.
Here we go.
It's not anything major. But there's a group of people in the Pacific Northwest that wanted to attempt their own idea at a CedhTEDH RC. Me, Parker, and Dylan are all in there right now. I don't know all of our opinions on it, which I guess we're gonna hit on currently. But that's something that's happening. There has been pretty great strides happening within the day. We have people from quite honestly all over the world currently. Ken Ballman, who's Kurakushima All-Star, does a ton of research, does a ton of hard
Did he actually make it in?
investigation. He's not in the group, but he has his own group that he's talking about.
I see.
And we're now in communications with him as far as I'm aware.
Yeah.
So
And I
there
know
is
some
groups.
other like prominent figures have popped in the last
Yeah, like
2 hours.
Lua
Yeah.
is in there. But there's a push to make a new ban list or at least have a new RC for TEDH or CEDH, which the Pacific Northwest one proposed a pretty interesting thought process of where we have this representation for about a year until we start building a following, and then we break apart from Commander as a whole and essentially become our own format without the Commander like title.
Yeah.
What
Which
do
is,
you guys think about it? And then I'll give my final thoughts.
it's interesting because I saw a tweet popped up on my I don't know what it was. Probably Twitter, I imagine.
Probably X, yeah.
As they do.
Yeah, X, formerly known as Twitter.
Rest in peace.
But it was one of the RC people talking about the bans and being like, so how do people feel about this in the casual sense? And the entire comment section was just like, yeah, I don't know what to do. A lot of them were like, honestly, at this point, I would be fine with just a new format. Like one of the dudes was like, let us boomers just play our non-vintage, like our vintage 100-card decks, essentially. Yeah. And it's like, it seems like the community is rather ready for something of the sort to happen.
No, I definitely agree that it seems like the community wants that, but I think it's also in a strenuous place. Like, I feel like the CDH players kind of feel betrayed in a sense, like a lot of them do, or like mishomed, because they don't quite understand why it happened or why so sudden without any warning or anything like that.
Why
just
did
fair.
this happen to me?
Like, I mean, they were kind of forced. The CDH community was kind of forced upon the rules committee, and it's something that they've never really acknowledged or cared to care about. Oh my God! What a picture!
I know. It's bad.
Oh my God!
That poor soul.
That's thousands of dollars down the drain.
For context, chat, we're looking at a picture of an individual who has posted a picture of their band cards. Someone's hurting right now.
Yikes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Someone's feeling real bad.
I think they're chilling though, because I think this Jeweled Lotus at the bottom is a proxy. Same with this Mana Crypt. Just from the foiling, it could be the lighting, but they look fake right off the grid.
Even if those two are fake,
I
and the
know.
rest are real. They're
Do you
still
see
cooked.
If the
these
5 extended arc Jewel Lotuses are real.
2 of them are the textured too,
Yeah.
Oh my god.
and
What are
those
they-
dock
what are-
sides were like 100 and something
What are
each.
Mana Vault and Soul Ring doing up there?
I don't know.
I think those are just next on the block,
Dear.
and they're like feeling bad about it.
That would be crazy if those were on the block.
Well, we know
Yeah.
Soul Ring's not, apparently.
Yeah.
Yo, my $100 soul ring's staying safe. Let's go.
Safe and sound.
No.
Yeah, but
No.
Nick, what's your thought process of a new format because of this?
Truthfully, I don't think it's necessary, and I don't think it's gonna go well unless it like happens organically, and I think that's going to be very difficult to make happen. Because no matter who starts the process, they are gonna have biased thoughts and opinions on what's healthy for a format.
Yeah.
And there are going to be groups of people who don't agree with that. And the further we go down the rabbit hole of splitting away a group, the further we're going to divide the player base, and other people are going to want to make their own group with their own rules.
Yeah.
And I think the deeper you go down that, the less of a cohesive format we have, the less players we'll have, the less events we'll have that are using the same rule set. I think it just causes problems the deeper you go.
Yeah.
I think the correct course of action is just Banlist happens, ride it out. Maybe it gets rolled back, maybe it doesn't. Either way, we adapt. We're still going to build decks to the best we can and play the format.
Yeah. That's my opinion on it. When I think I can probably just say their name. When Atlas proposed the idea, he was like, "Who wants to join?" And I saw a bunch of people that share similar philosophies and ideas as Atlas, being like, "Yeah, I want in." And I was like, if this does actually take fruition, is this really the people we want representing everything? So I put my name out there because I have a pretty different view on the entire format of CDH and Magic in a general sense than what they do. I have a pretty open mind thing and a very risky mindset, I guess you can call it. Like, Dranith is bad, Oppo is bad, other decisions like that. Like, OBM's not that good of a card. Black deck should probably start cutting it. Those are some of my
Well,
hot
I
takes.
think now it's might just genuinely be a problem for the format without Dockside.
I think it's a problem for green decks, right? It doesn't
always
do
has
anything
been.
for
Like,
it doesn't do anything to stop the draw
True.
deck. The
correct,
amount of
which is-
times I've drawn 30 cards into an OBM and won the game.
Yeah.
Basically all my games.
Because the OBM doesn't hit you, it hits like the
Correct.
17
Yeah.
creatures that the
So
green
why-
deck has out.
Yeah.
So why would you
until
ever stop
that's why
drawing
I think
cards?
black
Oh, hey, stop.
black
Dude,
decks.
Bold.
Dude, I'm spacing out, and I tuned back in right when I.
cut the podcast.
Oh
Take
my
us off
God.
air.
No. Black decks should probably start cutting it because they don't know how to play it right.
Yeah,
And
I mean-
even if
I
they
mean,
knew how to play it right, it doesn't punish the card draw player enough.
No, it doesn't.
Like Shieldred
Like-
does enough because it's 2 life per card, which is more damage than you're taking off per card for an Adnaz. Which is more life than people are willing to pay. So I think OBM's bad, but I have a differing view. That's what the point is. Because I disagree with the whole we need an entirely different format. We need a different ban list because at the end of the day,
Yeah,
We're
you're hitting
up
all
five.
You were
the,
just
all
cooked
the
right
mics.
now.
yeah. At the end of the day, we play CDH. We
Yeah.
play competitive commander. Whatever the ban list is what we play. I like the attempt at it. I think it will be interesting to see what they come up with. I swear
Yeah.
to God, if the first ban list they recommend has Rogsai, Rograk on the goddamn ban
Oh
list,
my God.
I'm putting a bullet in my head. Just
I-
ban Silas. There's 2
I
decks
would-
that play Silas. It's Kodama Silas and Rogsai. Kodama Silas is played by 1 player. Oh no, let him cry. If you buy into Rograk, you're getting rid of Thrasios Rog, Timna Rog,
Yeah.
a bunch of different Rog decks. Just ban Silas.
I was at a tournament and the Sisei player was like, I think Rograt's just the best deck in the best card in the format. And I'm like, why? Like, and he's like, oh, it 100% just deserves to be banned. I'm like, why? Like, and he's like, oh, the top deck invitation. I'm like, yeah, it was 90% one group that literally just plays Rogsai.
And
Like-
they literally cheated to have people make the top cut.
Hey, we don't talk about that.
No, we're talking about it.
Is there
If I
king
see
making
someone-
going on?
I didn't know about that.
In the top, I think it was the last round. There was 2 Rog decks. One of them, if one of the Rog decks win, they made top cut. If neither of them won, neither of them made the top cut. One Rogsai player puts a Mnemonic Betrayal on the stack with no cards left in the library. Priority goes around because they didn't have any answers. The Rogsai player, last in priority, was like Outcast and Tomb and put Thoracle in the bin.
Oh,
And then let the Mnemonic Betrayal resolve, allowing Thoracle to win, giving the Rogsai player a win. They're scumbags and they should be disqualified,
Yeah.
is my
that's
view.
disgusting.
And then the guy who entombed was like, if you think that's me cheating, you don't understand CDH. We need those people out of the format.
Yeah, there's like a point where CDH is not a team format.
Yes.
Like I
That was
understand
just
that there
straight
are
up cheating.
teams and groups that like to play together, but it is still
Yeah.
about individual performance, not how many people from your team can you cram in a tournament to guarantee someone going through.
Oh, absolutely. Especially when we go down. Fuck all y'all. I
Bro,
don't care who
every
the fuck-
time I'm in a pod with Cameron, neither of us is winning that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we are
like,
both
and that's
losing
how,
to somebody
like, it should
else.
be, right? Like,
yeah.
play your game.
You
No, that's I didn't
you,
realize that happened.
You
That's
always play to the
scumbag.
best of your ability, like no matter what. Like I've had multiple games where I sit down against Bailey and I'm like, "Yo, Bailey, hear me out," and you're like, "Fuck no," and it's just like,
Yeah, because you're on some
Yeah.
bullshit, Parker.
shut the fuck
Parker.
up.
I'll tutor for interaction, I swear.
Interaction, dockside for 12.
When the fuck did I do that?
Technically, the other player doesn't win because Parker is winning.
True.
When
No,
the
no, no.
fuck did I do
We've
that?
been there. We've been there, done that, Parker.
Don't worry about it, Parker.
What?
Parker, we love you.
When the
Anyway,
fuck did I do that?
That's been the episode talking about the ban list and what it does to our decks.
Cool.
The Wolfip's still up. Parker's upset. Good night, everyone. Hopefully you enjoyed
beefing.
the episode. It's been 52 minutes.
What the
peace.
fuck?
Oh, we're chill.